Thanks to It's Frank on YouTube or Frank Hill on Facebook, I finally have, the first season of Gargoyles and Volume 1, Season 2 of Gargoyles. And I watched the third disc of Volume 2, Volume 1, Season 1, I should say, a Season 2, Volume 1. Easy for me to say. But I watched disc 3 of that. And what I watched was probably what I consider, and even Greg Weismer said this in the introductions that they put on there, which you could choose. You could either choose to watch it with or without him. Was the 3-part arc that kind of started that whole time kind of 10-part deal, I guess as he called it, that kind of traveling around the world, time, space kind of deal. I watched the beginning of it, which was Alvalon. And as I watched Alvalon, and believe me, I had recorded it before. In fact, I remember I recorded it back in about 2004 with my Apex DVD recorder. But anyway, I recorded it, two of the episodes, off Toon Disney. And I always liked these kind of stories. City of Stone I liked. Alvalon I've liked. Awakening, no doubt, I liked. Gathering, you can't compare to that. Well, you can compare to it. Because Gathering was good. Hunter's Moon was good. So, the multi-part episodes, basically the movie-like episodes, if you just watch them as a full movie, are good. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you could sit down and you could watch these episodes as a movie if they gave you that feature, which I don't know if they do or not. But here's what gets me about the Alvalon one. And this was, I don't know if maybe this was overlooked by Greg Weismer and some of the staff there. A little note Frank gave me with the package today. But I don't know if maybe it was overlooked or what. But apparently, there's something that really gets me about this episode. Just really kind of about this, not episode, but the story itself. In part 2, we kind of get an idea of how the Archmage got his power and everything. But what kind of got me was he kept going back in time. It seemed that he kept going back in time and reteaching himself, and basically regathering the items, and regathering the items. And yet they never really followed up on any of that. Except for the fact that Goliath has the items. And here's the deal, when they end part 2, and they have the Archmage that just got turned into the Archmage, got the power now, go and do it again, it's like, what's really going on here? Nothing was ever really explained. Nothing was really ever explained, and then of course you get the Gathering, you get the Gathering episode, and all that, and yet nothing was really kind of explained of, well, what if? What if this is still going on? Do we even get any kind of follow-up? And we never did. We never really got a follow-up. It's more like, oh, well, this is happening, but yet you don't get a follow-up. And it's like, okay. My point is, from a story perspective, I'm wondering if Greg Weismer overlooked the fact that fans, even to this day, will look at that and go like, well, wait a minute, he just kept going back in time. And yes, it's going to be the same result over and over again, but what if? And, I think that's just something that sticks out in my mind. It's kind of like, okay, we see Goliath defeat the Archmage. We see the Archmage die, but yet we know he went back in time. He's going to constantly keep doing this. It's just going to be in this cycle. It's like, what is going on? Why didn't they do a follow-up on it? Why didn't they do an episode where, okay, we know they went back to Alvalon because of the situation there with the with Oberon and all that. Well, we get that. We get that, but why can't they do some kind of like a follow-up episode with Alvalon, where let's say you have Gabriel kind of walking about, just making sure there's no dangers. Suddenly he hears stuff, and then he looks over, and then he's seeing Goliath there, but he knows Goliath is gone, and he sees the Archmage, and he's going like, "What is going?" See, this is stuff that, to me, I think they should have followed up on, because it's like, why didn't they follow up on the fact that possibly it could affect them? Nobody really knew. Now, I know some people might say, well, this happened, and that happened, that's right. And I get it, but to me, when I look at the episode of the Alvalon episode, I look at it and I'm like, to me, it just kind of really is especially with knowing that in part 2, he just keeps going back in time and recruiting and doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, wouldn't, in a sense, from a storyline perspective, wouldn't that kind of throw off the magical balance of Alvalon? It's, to me, that's something that would kind of like be, if I'm creating a show like this, I know fans would be asking this question, like, okay, well, they keep going and going and going, and it's like, isn't there like some kind of consequence or something, or what's going on? It's basically like that. It's like, isn't there some kind of consequence? Isn't there some kind of consequence of what's going on? Because it's like, you would think that it's kind of like an endless cycle, and they just keep going and going and going. And maybe it's just me, but it's something that when we watch the Alvalon miniseries, it's like, well, the Alvalon arc in Gargoyles, it's like, it's just something that kind of bugs me. It's like, okay, he kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Wouldn't that kind of be like affect the magic maybe of Alvalon? It's like, we don't know. It's like, I don't know, but still, to me, it's something that I find kind of, a little out there. Get what I'm saying? It's something that, kind of gets me, like, I look at it and I say to myself, why leave us hanging with the fact that it's still going on and going on? It's like, you have to do a follow-up on it. It's like, to me, what they need to do is just keep going back in time and back in time. What they need to do, honestly, was do maybe another arc where, basically, to ensure that none of it happens, that the Archmage never repeats the cycle. They need to just take it away from him the first time, and there you go. And again, maybe it's just me making a big deal out of nothing, but still, it's something that I'm sure fans at all these gargoyle conventions, these gathering conventions, they look at it the same way, like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Oh, wait a minute, what about this? What about that? It's just one of those things, and again, maybe it's just me, but it's like, I think in a sense it's kind of like a missed opportunity in Alvalon. It's like, some things that's, to me, you leave. It's basically like, I think the title was going to say, some questions in Gargoyle Alvalon arc left unanswered. And this is a big question. It's like, what? It's like, what's going on kind of deal, But that's all I have to say. You guys let me know what you think down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.